You know that old saying, water, water everywhere, but not a drop to drink? Whoever said that clearly never visited America. This country is practically bursting at the seams with rivers, lakes, and enough darn water to quench the thirst of 1,000 stand-up comedians. We're talking vast, shimmering expanses that'll make you want to break out in a chorus of America the Beautiful, or maybe just crack open a cold one and soak in the view. America's waterways are something special, a liquid tapestry woven into the very fabric of this nation. So buckle up, Buttercup, because we're about to embark on a hilarious, hydration-heavy journey through America's most iconic rivers and lakes. From the mighty Mississippi to the sparkling Great Lakes, these waterways are more than just pretty faces. They're the lifeblood of this country. They've carried explorers, pioneers, and probably a few bewildered squirrels clinging to logs for dear life. And who better to guide you through this watery wonderland than yours truly? I've spent years exploring these aquatic arteries, learning their secrets, and perfecting my cannonball technique. So grab your sense of adventure, pack your swimsuit, and get ready to dive headfirst into the wild, wonderful world of America's rivers and lakes. Just remember, if you see a fish wearing sunglasses and a Hawaiian shirt, it might be me. Well, folks, let's kick things off with the granddaddy of them all, the mighty Mississippi. This river's so long, it makes a cross-country road trip look like a stroll to the mailbox. Seriously, this thing stretches over 2,300 miles, meandering its way from Minnesota all the way down to the Gulf of Mexico. The Mississippi's more than just a river. It's a living, breathing legend. Speaking of legends, the Mississippi's got stories for days. Did you know that it's the official state river of not one, not two, but 10 different states? That's right, folks, 10. And speaking of Huckleberry Finn, the Mississippi's inspired more than its fair share of literary giants. The Mississippi's not just about literary legends and historical happenings. It's also got a quirky side, full of local lore and offbeat attractions. Now, I know what you're thinking. Bill, this all sounds great and all, but what about the laughs? You promised me humor. The Mississippi's got more material for jokes than a stand-up comedian at an open mic night. This thing's so wide in some places, you could practically need a pair of binoculars to see the other side. It's like the river's playing a giant game of hide-and-seek with its own water. All right, folks, we've conquered the mighty Mississippi, but hold on to your hats because we're heading west to tackle the Colorado River. This ain't your grandma's lazy river, folks. This bad boy carves its way through canyons, deserts, and enough rugged terrain to make a mountain goat think twice. The Colorado River is 1,450 miles of pure, unadulterated adventure. Point is, the Colorado's not for the faint of heart. It's for the adventurous souls, the ones who like their water with a side of adrenaline. Speaking of holy cow, that's a long way down. Let's talk about the Grand Canyon for a minute, shall we? This place is so big, so vast, so incredibly awe-inspiring, it makes you realize just how small and insignificant we humans really are. Now, I'm not saying you should go jumping off the rim of the Grand Canyon, but I'm saying that a trip to the Grand Canyon is an experience like no other. Trust me, there's nothing quite like navigating rapids, dodging rocks, and trying to keep your lunch down while surrounded by millions of years of geological history. Now I know what you're thinking. Bill, this all sounds a little intense. Can't we just relax by the river and work on our tans? But let's be honest, folks. The Colorado River isn't exactly known for its relaxing vibes. This is a river that demands respect and maybe a little bit of fear. So what are you waiting for? Grab your sunscreen, your sense of adventure, and maybe a helmet. The Colorado River is calling, and it's time to answer. All right, folks, buckle up those life vests and grab your floaties because we're heading north to the land of freshwater giants, the Great Lakes. Now, I know what you're thinking. Bill, aren't lakes supposed to be, well, lake-like? You know, calm, peaceful, good for a leisurely afternoon of fishing and napping? But these aren't your average run-of-the-mill ponds, folks. These bad boys are so big, they have their own weather patterns. So grab your sense of adventure, your rain gear, and get ready to experience the majesty of the Great Lakes. Now, I'm not saying the Great Lakes are haunted, but let's just say they've got stories. We're talking tales of shipwrecks so epic, they'd make even the saltiest sailor shiver their timbers. And enough historical intrigue to make you want to dig out your old history books and start brushing up on your Great Lakes trivia. So grab your fishing rod, your binoculars, and maybe a net, and get ready to experience the wild side of the Great Lakes. Section 3. Holy Canoely. These lakes are big. These things are huge. We're talking a combined surface area of over 94,000 square miles. That's more water than you could shake a stick at, unless you have a really, really long stick. The Great Lakes hold over 20% of the world's freshwater supply. People sail on the Great Lakes all the time. They have regattas, yacht clubs, and those little sailboats with the colorful spinny things. But sailing on the Great Lakes is not for the faint of heart. These waters can turn treacherous fast. One minute you're enjoying a cruise, the next you're battling gale force winds. But hey, that's all part of the adventure, right? So grab your life vest and get ready to experience the vastness of the Great Lakes. All right, folks, we've braved the mighty Mississippi, conquered the Colorado, and survived the Great Lakes. Now let's trade in our life vests for some stylish scarves and head east to the Hudson River. This is a river with class, sophistication, a river that probably sips its morning coffee from a tiny porcelain cup. Think of it as the dapper gentleman of American rivers flowing from the Adirondack Mountains all the way down to New York City. This river's got street cred and a touch of wilderness charm. It's got history, culture, and more stories than a New York City cab driver. So grab your binoculars, your picnic basket, and maybe a beret or two. Let's explore the Hudson River. Now, when I say the Hudson River's got history, I'm not talking about some dusty old textbooks. This river's witnessed it all, folks. We're talking early explorers, colonial settlements, Revolutionary War battles, and enough historical intrigue to make a history buff's head spin faster than a weather vane in a hurricane. This is the river where Henry Hudson himself sailed up in 1609, probably thinking, man, this place could really use a good deli. And speaking of good eats, the Hudson River Valley is known for its culinary delights. We're talking farm-fresh produce, artisanal cheeses, and enough apple cider donuts to satisfy even the sweetest tooth. And let's not forget about the apple pie, folks. The Hudson Valley's got apple pie that'll make you want to slap your mama. But please don't. Violence is never the answer, especially when there's pie involved. But the Hudson's not just about history and food, though those are two of my favorite things, I'll admit. This river's also got a knack for romance. Imagine a leisurely cruise down the Hudson, the sun setting over the mountains, the gentle breeze carrying the scent of pine and apple pie. It's enough to make even the most cynical heart melt like a scoop of vanilla ice cream on a hot summer day. So grab your sweetheart, grab a blanket, and grab a few extra napkins. Those apple pie crumbs can be tricky. And get ready to experience the magic of the Hudson River. Just try not to fall overboard while you're gazing into each other's eyes. All right? Now, No trip to the Hudson River would be complete without a little taste of Dutch culture. After all, these were the folks who originally settled the area, back when New York was still called New Amsterdam, and probably before they invented those wooden shoes. Can you imagine trying to navigate a cobblestone street in those things? And while the Dutch might not be known for their sense of humor, they're from the Netherlands, not Jokeland, they sure know how to build a charming town. Take a stroll through towns like Kingston, Catskill, or Hudson, and you'll feel like you've stepped back in time. We're talking cobblestone streets, brick sidewalks, and houses that look like they've been plucked straight out of a storybook, or maybe a gingerbread house competition. And the best part? No need to worry about speaking Dutch. Most of the locals actually speak English, though you might hear the occasional gezellig thrown around. It's a Dutch word that roughly translates to convivial or cozy, or I'm out of stroopwafels. But the Dutch influence on the Hudson River goes beyond architecture and language. These folks also brought their love of good food, good beer, and good times, which, let's be honest, is a winning combination in my book. So grab a pint of local craft brew, sample some Dutch-inspired cuisine, I recommend the stroopwafels, just try not to eat them all in one sitting, and soak up the unique atmosphere of the Hudson Valley. Just try not to say windmill too many times. It's a surefire way to get mistaken for a tourist. Well, folks, we've paddled down the Mississippi, braved the Colorado, conquered the Great Lakes, and strolled along the Hudson. Now it's time to head west again, to Lake Tahoe, baby. This ain't your average backyard swimming hole, folks. This is a lake so clear, you can practically see the fish brushing their teeth. It's a lake so blue, it makes the sky look jealous. And it's a lake so expensive, you might have to sell your car just to afford a weekend getaway. But seriously, Lake Tahoe ain't exactly known for its budget-friendly accommodations. This is a playground for the rich and famous. But hey, don't let the price tag scare you off. Lake Tahoe's beauty is worth every penny. Let's explore the wonders of Lake Tahoe. No trip to Lake Tahoe is complete without local lore. This place has got stories, tales of Bigfoot roaming the forests, searching for lost tourists to share his stash of berries. Legends of the Lake Tahoe monster, a giant serpent-like creature lurking in the depths. And enough ghost stories to make you want to sleep with the lights on. But Lake Tahoe's not just about mythical creatures, it's a haven for the rich and famous. Celebrities with their mega mansions, tech moguls with their private jets, and trust fund kids with fancy paddleboards. Even if you don't meet the elite, there's plenty to keep you entertained. Rent a boat, hike through forests, or just relax by the shore. Soak up the beauty of this natural wonder. So there you have it, folks, a whirlwind tour of America's most iconic rivers and lakes. We've paddled with the ghosts of Mark Twain on the Mississippi, dodged rapids and rubber duckies on the Colorado, searched for sea monsters and maybe a decent cup of coffee on the Great Lakes, pondered life's mysteries on the banks of the Hudson, and rubbed shoulders with Bigfoot, or at least someone who looked suspiciously hairy, at Lake Tahoe. It's been a wild ride, full of laughs, adventure, and maybe a few too many fishtails. But hey, who's counting? But listen, you don't need a wisecracking tour guide like me to experience the magic of these watery wonderlands. America's rivers and lakes are calling, and they're waiting for you to answer. So pack your bags, grab your sense of adventure, and maybe a good map. Those rivers can be tricky, and get out there and explore. Go for a swim, cast a line, rent a paddle boat, or just find a comfy spot on the shore and soak up the view. Trust me, there's nothing quite like spending a day, or a week, or a lifetime exploring these liquid treasures. Just remember to pack your sunscreen, your sense of humor, and maybe a life vest or two, just in case. And if you see a guy in a Hawaiian shirt doing cannonballs off a dock, come say hi. But be warned, my splash zone is legendary.